Welcome to the ArmaniTalks show, episode 33. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. This is the month of October, and in today's episode, I'm going to get started off by talking about Halloween, my thoughts on it, and we're going to be covering a lot more topics. But before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification to stay updated with the latest episodes. I've been posting on the Armani Talks YouTube channel for over 5 years, and I have over 2,000 videos dealing with a range of topics from public speaking, social skills, emotional resilience, and much more. So do not forget to hit subscribe and stay updated. Now, it is the month of October, and I noticed that with the month of October, you could dress like Superman. You could be walking down Walmart, and no one is going to bat an eye. No one is going to say, why is he dressed like Superman for? As a matter of fact, most people they are going to be able to explain why you are dressed like Superman. They're going to say, "Well, it is Halloween. I mean, who wouldn't dress like Superman? Aren't you dressed like Batman or something?" I like it when people get into the mood for Halloween because it shows that they know how to get to the spirit of things. Certain people they don't know how to get into that spirit. They get a little annoying with certain holidays and certain big events. And the two types of people that get a little too annoying, especially with Halloween, are the overly mature people and overly religious people. For the first group, the overly mature people, you tell them, "Man, I can't believe it's October already," and you're feeling excited. They'll say, "Well, why do you care? You are a 33-year-old man. It's not like you're going to go trick or treating or anything." And now you're being put in the defense where, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go trick or treating, but there are fun Halloween activities to do for adults. For example, I'm going to be going to a thing called Halloween Horror Nights. And this is something that you don't have to be a little kid to go to. You could be an adult and you can go there as well. And it's a great chance to be social. So you're explaining this to them, but the mere fact that they called you out from the beginning, they're saying, "Ah, man, whatever, bro. I don't want to hear it." And just like that, they're trying to actively ruin your mood. Then there's the other group of people, the ones that are super religious. They'll say, "Well, I don't believe in all that devil stuff." You say, "Man, you don't have to think of it like that. Halloween is more so a nostalgic moment for a lot of 30 to 40-year-olds because when they were kids, they were doing the whole trick or treating thing and they want to still engage with Halloween. Let's say they don't have kids, so they're not walking their kids around to go trick or treating. What else can they do?" And when you start to associate a fun moment with the devil and witches and all that, it's not right. I think certain religious people get carried away and they are more so ego driven rather than heart driven. Because the purpose of religion is supposed to make you more compassionate towards others. You understand that not everyone is in the same path as you, but you are going to give the right knowledge to make sure that they are on the right path. But what happens if your version of the path has been perverted because you want to overdo it? I've seen plenty of people fall into that trap where they get so obsessed with religion that they completely lose sight of the fact that they live in the material world. They start to say stuff like, "Well, why even do anything in the material world? I mean, we're all going to die one day," as if they don't have another 40 to 50 years left of living in this world. So you want to obviously tap into the religious side if that is the path that you are focusing in on life, but you never want to undermine the material world as well. And that is something that you may actually get caught up in the trap of. Another remix to this is the whole self love movement, where it's good to have self love, it's good to have confidence. But then there's this other group of people that they are so obsessed with self love that it just becomes a me mentality. And now it's borderline narcissism. I recall when I was studying about the East a lot, I was amazed by the principles that they had for the mind. They treat the mind like a tool. And a lot of these stuff that self improvement space is talking about nowadays with leveling up, discipline, focus, all of that. The East already covered it. The East, they are brilliant when it comes to the mind. But my criticism of the East every now and then came when these monks, they would give up their entire life just so they can meditate all day. They didn't have a job, so their idea for getting food is equivalent to begging and pretty much making other people feel sorry for them because they are a big part of the mission and all they want to do is meditate all day. And there was this famous Swami that said, if all you want to do is hide in a cave and meditate all day, then you have missed the way. So you don't want to be one of these guys that is super religious or super spiritual to a point where you lose touch with the material world because eventually you are going to let a good thing turn into a bad thing. And when you keep on doing that, eventually you are going to lose a lot of great potential relationships along with great potential memories. I recall I was at this wedding a while back and there was some songs going on, some music, which you would expect out of a wedding. And there were some overly religious people that were like, oh man, like I can't believe they're having songs. That's the devil stuff. And they just got up and left. I thought, what a weird situation. And these are people, unfortunately, you can't justify yourself to because they have gone so far into this sort of thinking that logic is just not going to work with them. And in a turn of events, they feel sorry for you. They think that you listening to any types of songs is not good. So these are some groups of people that I have noticed they don't like Halloween at all. They don't get it, and I get it. I'm not one of those guys that's like, hey, just spend the entire month celebrating Halloween. But I think if you use this as an opportunity to tap into a few social events, it is a great way to create memories. I don't know about you, but I love the final 3 months of the year: October, November, December. It is sort of like a macro level of a day where on a typical day, let's say you are working hard throughout the morning, throughout the afternoon, throughout the evening, and at night, you know that there is a good TV show and good food that is awaiting you. You're going to be working extra hard throughout the day because you have now tapped into an incentive. Well, it's sort of like that in the macro picture for years. When you think of you could say the Burr months, October, November, December. It's like I went through January, I went through February, I went through March, so I could get to October, November, December. And there's magic in these moments where whenever I have a big trip coming up, I always try to plan it for October, November, December. Those are the big, big moments. Now, with October, I noticed something else. I noticed that nowadays they don't really have trick or treating that much, at least where I'm from. And I recall I read this article that said that nowadays trick or treating is at an all time low. And I wondered why. I noticed that there are a lot of things that my generation did that the new generation doesn't do. And I get it. You may not want to do trick or treating in neighborhoods because it could be dangerous. But during my childhood, I recall they had trick or treating in the malls. And there is a certain fun moment. You create a lot of these social memories when you engage with trick or treating in some ways. I recall my mom used to actually sew our costumes together. She did the Red Power Rangers costume, she did the ninja costumes. And it was just a great moment to bond, great moment to take pictures. This is the thing with social skills that you want to understand. You need to have an excuse sometimes. You need to sometimes turn off that overly logical, productive mind and tap into your inner child in order to be great at social skills. The people that are the best at social skills know how to not take themselves too seriously. And this is a skill set that will help you out tremendously, not only with your personal life, but in your professional life as well. There was this one job that I had where I always felt a couple of steps behind because I felt as though other people would not come up to me enough and ask me questions, try to stir up conversations with me. But there was this one girl, I'm gonna call her Michelle, who people would always go up to and ask her questions. They would want to hear her opinions on things. Now, Michelle was roughly 7 years older than me, so it kind of made sense. Career wise, she was way more seasoned than I was. And it made sense that different people were going up to her to ask for advice about certain things. Well, there came a point in my career where things started to flip. Michelle was eventually going to switch branches. So she wasn't going to be in that same floor that I was. And now I noticed that different people were looking into me a lot. For example, if a manager hired someone new and the manager is trying to introduce this new person to different people on the floor, they would bring them to my desk. It's because they knew that I would be able to create a conversation with the new person and occasionally give them a tour if they needed. As soon as they would bring the new person to my desk, different people would come and they would ask, "Hey, who is this new person?" And I would be the person bridging the gap. And in these situations, if you are overly serious the whole time, then the new person does not feel at home. So you need to strategically make jokes like, "Hey, is your boss taking care of you? Oh man, what about that P1? Man, I can't believe that occurred with this particular team recently." You need to occasionally be able to tap into that mode. Not so much in the professional space, but tap into that mode every now and then so people understand that you know how to make a serious situation into a light situation. And you don't always need to do this, but being able to certain times turn a serious moment into a light moment, it is a skill. And this is what people mean by confidence. If you are going into a professional event and the entire time you are sitting in a stiff sort of way, you have a stiff face, you're only talking in professional jargon the entire time, then others aren't going to view you as confident. They just will not. They will think that this guy is just too nervous, and they may actually see you as a newbie. While the person who has skill, who has that veteran leadership, they know how to tap into the joking mood every now and then. And they're capable of doing that because they have been competent for so long. They understand what can make them mad versus what can't. And from there, they also engage in social activities in their personal life. So they understand how to strategically bring in that element of fun into their professional life as well. Now, the ability to get angry at your job is actually a peek into mastery. I recall a couple of days ago, I was driving, and the car right in front of me was driving so freaking slow. And the car that was in front of me that was driving slow, they had to go everywhere that I needed to go. So I thought eventually the car was going to go, let's say, take a left while I'm driving straight. But no, as long as I'm driving straight, the car in front of me is driving straight as well, slowly. Then I'm thinking, well, at least I have a left turn coming up. I know they're not going to take a left turn as well. Wrong. They end up taking a left turn. And now I'm still behind this person. I have to take a right turn. They take a right turn. So I'm getting really agitated. I'm thinking, why do you have to go everywhere that I have to go? I really need to get somewhere, and you are over here wasting my time. And then I see a yellow sticker. I felt as though they should have put it a little bit higher so I could have seen it earlier. But this was a sticker that wrote, "Student driver, please be patient." And then it took me down memory lane. I recall when my dad was teaching me how to drive, I was super nervous. Initially, he was teaching me at this abandoned park where I had the ability to learn how to press the accelerator gently without smashing into it, how to click the brake in a smooth way without smashing into it, how to drive, how to turn. I recall there was this one time I was turning and I went into the grass, and my dad, he said, "Try again." And I thought, yes, I should try again because if I do something like this on the road, then it will not be a good look. Then I thought, what if I do this on the road? What if, for whatever reason, I am not driving the way that I should be and I get into an accident? That's not a good look. So I'm nervous. I still remember it vividly, the day when my dad said, "We are escaping the park today, son, and we were going to go on the roads. And as soon as I went on the roads, I did not have the luxury of being angry at anyone. I was just super fearful. I was thinking, Armani, don't mess up. This is your first time on the roads, but be as safe as you possibly can. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was following the speed limit. I was pretty much stopping at the yellow light, not slowing down. I was stopping at the yellow light. I was being super safe. And I was doing that for some time. And I would see cars occasionally behind me tailgating me. Like I was tailgating this car in the present day. And I just wanted them to know, look, I'm a student driver. I'm still figuring this out. And at that point, I didn't have the luxury of getting angry at anyone. It's because I was so involved with figuring out the skills. I still needed to learn. Now, this same sort of philosophy applied at my work. Whenever I would start a new job, I believe in embracing the nice guy mentality. I've talked about the difference between a kind guy and a nice guy before, where the kind guy is real, right? They will deliver a real or mean message in a polite way, where the nice guy is often delivering just the nice message in a nice sort of way. So you could always argue that the nice guy isn't real. But every now and then, being overly nice at work when you are first starting is a good way to build relationships. If someone wants you to do some grunt work and you just say, yes, I will do that grunt work, then people start to understand of you as the guy. I'm talking about the beginning, by the way, not like when you are this veteran presence, but right in the beginning, they see you as that guy that is willing to take on challenges and have a good attitude. A lot of people, when they're new and they come in with that, oh man, I'm just vibing, I'm just chilling, they're overly relaxed. I don't like it. It rubs me the wrong way. I like it when someone gets hired into a new company and they're a little nervous, they're a little jittery. I could tell this is a person who is moldable. Well, when I'm initially hired, I'm always saying, yes, yes, you need me to do this? Yes. You want to go for a walk? Even though I just came back from a walk, you asked me to go for a walk. Yep, I'll do it. I'm being overly nice. And in the beginning, I don't have the luxury of being angry at anyone because a lot of the times I think I'm the one that's messing up. For example, if a car cuts me off when I'm first learning how to drive, I may think, Armani, you messed up. That's why the car cut you off. But later on, when I really understand how to drive, then I could say, man, you're such a moron. Why would you cut me off like that? I was not doing anything wrong. And as I am gaining more experience in my career, the first couple of weeks turned into the first couple of months. I've seen my fair share of issues, and the first couple of months turned into my first year. Nowadays, I actually have the luxury of getting mad. I'll think, wait a minute, this issue occurred for how long? And no one sent out communications? No, we don't do that. This team does that. The mere fact that I'm capable of getting annoyed shows that I have a clear guideline on which team is responsible for what. And I know that my team was not in the wrong in this scenario. Versus in the beginning, when I first started, I'll say, oh no, they didn't send out comms. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I'll make sure to change that the next time. It's because I don't know that much. So people that are capable of getting angry at their job, I'm not saying that they're always getting angry, but deep inside they're just saying, man, this wasn't our fault. That actually is a sign of expertise in the making. That means you have seen your fair share of issues. You understand that certain things are your fault, certain things are not your fault. And when it's not your fault and people are trying to blame you, the nice guy mask now comes off and you're keeping it real. You need to be able to control your temper at work because there are going to be different people that get the worst out of you plenty of times. And in these situations, you want to be able to be assertive and be calm at the same time. Being assertive is pushing back. If someone says something, you don't just end the conversation there. You want to keep chipping away, especially if you know that the other person is wrong. Now, other times you are the one that's wrong. I recall there were a couple of times when I'm first starting off my career, a person is whispering in my ear, hey, Armani, you need to get the answers and you need to get this ASAP. I'm thinking, okay, well, who do I reach out to? And this person who's whispering in my ear gives me bad advice. He says, you should reach out to Team X. So I find someone in Team X and I am pressing Team X. I am saying, no, I need this answer. The guy's saying, well, I don't have that answer. And I'm still pressing because the guy whispering in my ear, he is a person of power within my team, and I don't want to let him down. So I continue to press Team X, only to learn later on that Team X is not responsible for this. And as a matter of fact, the guys from Team X should not have even responded to me, but they were responding to me out of courtesy. And here I am pressing them, pressing them, pressing them for more answers. This is why nowadays it's very important to study the org chart. It's important to understand what different people do. I recall when I was first starting my career, there was a period when there was this one guy. I'm going to call him Dean. Dean was responsible for IT related work. Anytime our computers broke, we would hit up Dean. And Dean was funny because he would never laugh. At first, you want to crack some jokes with him because you keep seeing him. Sometimes you'll see him 2 times in a span of 2 weeks because your computer is acting up. He'll come and now he's looks like this familiar face, like Dean, man, another computer that's broken, right? And he'll look at you like he's not laughing. Eventually, that became a part of his charm. We would always tell the new employees, hey, if Dean doesn't laugh when you're telling a joke, don't be offended. That's just his personality. Well, nowadays, if I am having a computer issue, I don't just go to a guy called Dean, the computer guy. Instead, they'll ask me, well, what type of computer problem is it? Is it hardware related? Then you have to go to Michael. Is it software related? Then you go to Dean. Is it network related? Then you go to Ali. So you have to juggle all these different positions in your mind and you don't know who does what. That is one of the hardest parts of modern jobs, especially if you work in a Fortune 500 company. You should spend a lot of your free time just studying the org chart. I'm pretty sure you guys have an intranet. And within this intranet, you see who reports to who, which teams are which, what responsibilities do they have, who is responding back to who. You just want to keep doing that. And eventually, you're going to build that fluency. And you never know when you will need this information. Picture you knowing different individuals as collecting nodes. There were times in my career when a certain issue would happen, and I would ask, hey, could you guide me in the right direction to a particular figure I knew within that space? And this person would give me an exact name that I could message. But other times you just need to keep digging, digging, digging until you find someone that can help you out. Some people are going to be super excited to help you out. Other people, they will get annoyed that you are pinging them at all. And I've always noticed that the people that are really high up there, if you ping them, they go out of their way to try to help you out. While the people that are a little bit lower than the guys that are super high up there, they have this snarky attitude. There were a lot of times when an executive director, super high up there, when I pinged them, they would come back with responses, with diagrams, with people to head up. Versus when I hit up some of the VPs, they would say, I don't know. Okay, I mean, can you at least guide me in the right direction, please? Nope, I don't know. Where my philosophy has always been, I want my reputation to be the person who gets things done. And it's such an honor when someone says that. Someone's like, I don't know if Armani could help me out, but let's just get him engaged with this because he always finds a way to steer us in the right direction. I believe if you eventually build that reputation at work, then mountains will move for you. Because to get a promotion at work, it's not just about blending in. One of the best insights I heard about getting a promotion is that you want to be a standard deviation better than others. Now, this is very general because you may ask, standard deviation better than others in what category? And that is an excellent question to ask. If you are just trying to be better than them, then you may just be floating around, not getting better at anything. I want to even specify this. thing even more. I believe you should be known for something. Okay. And I'll give you a real life example. I recall in one of these teams that I worked in a while back, there was this one guy that was known as a tech guy. Anything from coding to system resiliency to creating networks with other teams' systems. This guy was brilliant at it. Now, the annoying thing with him was he couldn't really explain it. He was this really crude guy. He did not care about design at all, aesthetics at all. He was just a nitty gritty tech guy. That is what we knew him as. So the manager has, let's say, 15 employees, and one guy is clearly known as a tech guy. That means that he is a standard deviation better than everyone else in terms of tech. The other people could be good as well, but the mere fact that the manager, the guy with the bird's eye view, thinks of this guy in such a high light means that this guy has a chance to get promoted. Now, this could also be dangerous because this guy hypothetically may not be the best coder, but he is the best explainer. He knows how to take credit strategically and make it seem like to the manager that he is the guy that figured it out. Unfortunately, in this case, this person who is such a great explainer and he is capable of explaining what he is doing to the person who is making the decision whether to promote or not may get promoted. So I'm not always saying that this is a good thing, but I just recall there was this one guy in my team who was not explaining that much. It just we knew that he had a body of work to showcase that he was great. Now with my skill, it was a little different. I was never that overly tech guy. I did have an intuitive understanding of how systems worked, but I couldn't go in the nitty gritty details and set up SQL queries to pull data from Splunks and like create dashboards. I knew nothing about that. My skill, though, was being able to speak in these bridge calls. If you needed a presentation done to share what our team does with other teams, you could reach out to me because I am the only one with Toastmasters experience from our team. So, what I became known as was the guy that can talk. And this was a good skill set to have because the overly tech guy, if you asked him to give a presentation on the latest projects that he's been working on, he would get nervous or he wouldn't even know how to start a presentation, how to effectively get the idea, boil it down to the main points, and deliver it in an engaging way to an audience. He had no clue about that. So he had to reach out to me to share these principles, these projects that were being worked on, and then I could deliver the presentation in an insightful sort of way. So what I became known as was the talker. And this is a good thing to understand. You have to be known for something. You could either be known for the tech guy, the documentation guy, the talker, the networker. There was another person that would get promoted a lot because they knew how to bring in the new employees and integrate them seamlessly. I recall there were different people always coming in, and this person would give them a tour, would be their friend for the first month, answer any questions, get them access to all the important systems. And from the manager's perspective, he does not have the mental bandwidth to go through the day to day activities that anyone is doing. You may be doing a lot of great day to day work, but the manager only sees you in terms of a label. One word, hopefully, to describe you. And if not one word, then at times it'll be one sentence. What I was eventually known for is Armani's not really going to give you the highly technical coding development work, but he will be a warm presence that's open to getting along with engaging, uh, uh, getting along with different team members and can communicate ideas in a simple fashion. That's overly long too. So that long statement will work when it's a team of 5. But by the time it becomes a team of 20, that big sentence is just like Armani could talk. This guy is a tech guy. This guy is a documentation guy. This girl is the team glue. Without her, no one knows what to do. So think in terms of that. What are you eventually being known for? And there are different things to be known for. I'm a big basketball fan. A lot of the analogies that I bring up with communication skills often tie into basketball analogies as well. If you ever read my book, Speakeasy, which is right on here, I talk about how speaking skills is a lot like communication skills, where you need a purpose, aka the hoop. If you don't have a hoop and you just have a ball, then you're dribbling it aimlessly. Similarly, if you don't have a point and you are just utilizing words, you're speaking aimlessly. So you need a point, you need a hoop. Another thing with basketball that I've noticed is nowadays the game is different. It's not about the superstars anymore. If you are a great basketball player, good for you. But nowadays it's more so about playing your role. Can you be a 3 and D guy? Can you play defense? Can you shoot threes when we need you to shoot threes? Are you a good locker room guy? Are you capable of instilling courage in others when we are down by 15 points and the game is still within grasp, or are you throwing in the towel? Are you capable of throwing team events outside of the arena? What can you do? So nowadays, basketball is not about hero ball and being the best player on the team. It's more about playing your role effectively. You play a role effectively, and you can easily get $20 million a year. It's just like that with your career as well. The bigger the company that you work in, the more that you need to understand your role. And there are going to be times when you will question your role. You feel as though you could do a bigger thing, which you can do, but don't forget that small thing that they initially hired you for. There was this one guy that I used to work with. He was just this, I thought he was a useless guy. I thought, why do we have you again? But this guy, whenever a crisis would hit, he knew how to make the right phone calls. One time we accidentally sent a bunch of money to a company and we needed to pull the money out. And in this situation, we couldn't just pull the money out because this would be violating legal terms. So this guy that I thought was useless said, I could help with that. And he had the number to call the company to see if they could sign a waiver for us to pull the money out. This is something that you need to be able to do, where you play your role. It's all about humbling yourself and doing the best job that you can. And this is why I believe feedback is one of the best things you can do. I actually just got done getting a haircut. And nowadays, I've been doing this thing where if the haircut is not good, if certain parts are not cut properly, I actually go back and I say, can you please cut this? And I feel embarrassed doing that. I am not one of those guys that likes to confront people. I like to be at ease with my barbers, with people that I consistently see. Now, I've talked about this before, where with barbers, they have this balloon like mentality where in the beginning, they're inflated. They are doing a great job with your hair. But once you start talking to them, once they start getting familiar with you, they start cracking too many jokes. They start neglecting the hair, the main thing that you are hiring them for. And they start wasting your time. Where I got the haircut today, I specifically called her out by name when I was booking the appointment. Hey, I want this person. Is she available? Yes. So I trust her. I go in to get my haircut, and she is just talking and talking and talking away. And I notice immediately she's not being sharp with her movements. She's not pulling out the clippers and like cutting it nicely all over the right spots. And I'm getting angry. I'm just thinking, oh man, dude, come on, like enough talking, more working. Let's just put it like that. And then she says she's done. And she's talking and talking more. I pay her. I'm still a little annoyed. I go in my car. And now I have this option. I either leave, I either go to another Great Clips, or I go back into the same Great Clips and I let her know how I'm feeling. Because there was this huge chunk that she did not cut at all. And I decided to go with option three. I walk in and now everyone's looking at me like, didn't you just walk in here? Or is something wrong? I feel weird, man. I hate doing this type of stuff. I said, there's a part of my hair that's not cut. And this lady's like, well, who cut it? She's asking me to snitch. Obviously, I'm gonna snitch anyways, but she said that a little loud for my liking. I said, that girl. And then she said, okay. So I sit down, and then that girl comes to me. She says, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know I missed a spot. And now you're in a sensitive situation because you may have hurt their confidence, right? She's the manager, actually. I always thought if I work with a manager, then I should be good. She's the manager, so I don't want her to look poor in front of her employees. I'm just cracking some jokes. I say, yeah, my bad. I have a big event coming up. I don't, but I have a big event coming up. That's why I just need a little bit more precision on this area. She's cutting it and everything. Now I'm just questioning the entire haircut. I said, man, lady, you got done in like 6 minutes. And the other lady, there's another lady that wasn't there that I normally look for. She takes at least 15 minutes and she's super precise. So now I'm just thinking, oh, did you cut the top? Did you cut the back? And she's showing me in the mirror, but you know, when you are fresh out of getting your haircut, you don't really know if they did a good job or not. It's sort of like if you're trying on clothes in the dressing room at Ross, for whatever reason, every shirt looks good. Then you come back and you're just like, oh man. It's the same thing with haircuts. So you really want to make sure that they did their job. But if I keep critiquing her, I'm saying, oh, you missed it here, you missed it here. Now her confidence is getting shot. And now she is overcompensating, where she'll cut it super short. She said, see, I cut it really short now. I said, well, I didn't want it that short. I wanted it short, but not that short. And overall, this is something that I have not been able to resolve. It's just multiple times there are barbers that I'll have, and I'll give them 6 months before they start doing an awful job. They went from doing a great job where they made an impression on me. I start talking to them. I start saying, give me your business card. I'm going to come to you. And I only get 12 haircuts a year. That's why I'm picky. Just one cut a month. And I'm going to come to you. And then the next time I go, it's not as good as the first time, but it's still good enough. Here's your tip. Then the next time it's like, oh, okay, it's not that good. Then the next time it's just flat out awful. And the last time when it's just flat out awful, they're just talking a lot. They act like they know you. Or I don't like it when they act like they know me. I don't like talking to them. I want them to know this is a business reason that I am coming to you. I don't care about your family. I don't really care about your career. I'm asking you about where you learned cutting hair because you keep bringing up conversation material with me. I don't care about any of that, homie. I just want you to do a good job. Because when you don't do a good job, I feel jittery. My entire day is ruined, right? And people don't talk about this enough. When you mess up someone's hair, you mess with their identity. It's sort of like you are forcing a guy to wear a shirt that shrunk in the dryer for the entire month until eventually next month, okay, an entire month may be exaggerating. Let's say 2 weeks. 2 weeks, you have to wear a shirt where your nipples are hanging out. You could see the fat rolls on the side. It's just going to bother you. Or the next time when you are about to dry your clothes, you're going to feel that dread. Like, I really hope this shirt doesn't shrink as well because the next 2 weeks are going to be ruined. That's how I feel when I get a bad haircut. It really ruins my day. And I like to get it done the first thing in the morning. I have been trying my best for months and months, years to resolve this issue of poor haircuts. I went to barbers. I spend a lot of money on barbers. Awful jobs. I went to sports clubs. They're over here cutting my hair for a little bit and trying to give me a massage. I don't need all that. I went to supercuts. I went to great clips. I went to different barbershops. I had people come to my place. Each time it's the same thing. They start off good, then they slowly get worse and worse and worse the more familiar that they get with you. And I only go once a month. Imagine those people that get a haircut every 2 weeks. And now they need more incentive because since they know that you're going to come back next month, now they're saying, well, let me just, they see you as this autopilot entity, right? They don't go that extra mile unless every now and then you critique them. And another thing that I've noticed is if you go in there and you're like 6 on the side, inch off top, square, square, that should be enough for them to do their job. But when you deliver it in such a simple way, they sometimes undermine it. They're like, oh, that's it. And then they barely do a good job. And then there's this person listening to this right now, frothing at the mouth to be like, well, did you take a picture of what you want? Plenty of times. But what I've noticed with the whole picture thing is that it doesn't work. Where people will say, well, just take a picture and then it'll work. No, as a matter of fact, that is not what happens. That may work with fades, but if you have a little bit longer hair and you show it to them, they either overthink or underthink. When they overthink, they do a little too much, and overall, it just doesn't look good. You're like, are we even looking at the same picture? And when they underthink, they think they know what you want before even looking at the picture. They'll just be like, yep, got it. Did you look at it? Look at it, man. Zoom in, zoom out. I mean, really look at it. And you don't want to have this confrontation with this barber and challenge their expertise. You're thinking the fact that they just looked at it like this, okay, we're good to go. No, you are not good to go, man. These barbers suck. And it's one of these fields that is highly protected. You know, recently I actually went semi viral on TikTok with this one post I had about uh, people with tattoo sleeves. I said, if you have a tattoo sleeve, people will judge you. And here's a unique thing with clips, where I get my long form YouTube videos and I'll turn them into clips with a tool called Opus Clips, and then I'll publish it. Now, the entire talk, I say that I view tattoos as an art form. I love tattoos, but that one point was, if you have a tattoo sleeve, people are going to judge you. There are going to be times when you are qualified for a position, but people are subconsciously going to think that you are not qualified. Like, for example, if you have a tattoo sleeve and you are a pilot, people are going to be nervous walking in and seeing you. It's just a truth. It's a subconscious perception thing. And people were critiquing me. I got way more negative comments than I got likes on that video. I thought it was funny because it taught me something. People with tattoos, barbers, fast food workers, comedians are the most sensitive people on the planet. They could dish it, but they can't take it, right? If you are ever to critique their haircuts, they will get annoyed. But with other people's haircuts, they'll say, oh no, if I were them, I would do X, Y, Z. I can't stand it when people hype up their skill set and then they deliver an awful service. That's why I'm going on this rant about barbers. I have a full YouTube talk on it, but I just want to clarify it even more. I want someone who went through a bad haircut to discover this episode and realize that it's not them. I feel the same rage as well. I also have my day ruined, 2 weeks ruined, and I can't wait until the hair is grown back. But even then, the problems don't go away. Or if I didn't check that lady today and say, hey, can you please make it even in the back? You know what's going to happen? 2 weeks later, most of my hair has grown back, but that part now is longer than the rest. So I have this interval where I go and get a haircut once a month, but now I have to go a second time in a month, and now it throws off my entire formula. Okay, well, what about next month? Am I also gonna go 2 times a month again? Am I doing 24 haircuts a year now? Is that the new formula for 2026? Lady, you're throwing me off. Especially for us systems thinkers. We see things in a series of links and connections. So when you mess up one thing, you mess up a lot of other things. If a person is only eating one meal a day and you mess up that one meal and you don't care, because from your perspective, you made multiple meals and this is just one, then the other person, they're going to get mad. And just the way that society is set up, you can't vent nowadays, right? And okay, let me actually try to articulate this out loud because I have been noticing this. I just don't know how to articulate it. You can vent, but I feel like people vent a lot about stuff they should not be venting about, but stuff that you should be venting about, other people don't want to hear it. So, for example, if someone cuts you off on in traffic, I think yeah, you could vent for a little bit, but that's not something you want to talk someone's ear off about. Versus if you got a bad haircut multiple times and you are leading to an insight of this whole balloon mentality of how come people start off so inflated, then they deflate over time. I think that is something good to vent about, and you let people vent and you help them reach that insight. Where nowadays I'm trying to vent about certain things, and instead of asking follow up questions, leading me towards that insight, people will just say, well, let's just be patient, man. That's what life is about, right? Patience. And I'm just getting a lecture, and I'm being put in this mode where I have to listen. I'm like, rather than me speaking more, where I have a lot of these thoughts and feelings that I want to express, but I can't because I'm being put in this listening mode, even though I am on my way to an insight. And that is why I always loved Armani Talks. It's because with this, you could express yourself however you want to express yourself. You could keep on going and going until you stumble onto that insight. And now you feel relieved. Nothing will make you feel younger than an insight that you generated on your own. It's one thing when you read books and you are capable of turning raw experiences into insights. You're like, oh, wait a minute. I'm reading Armani Talks' Speaking Wizard book. And now all these times I gave speeches, I realized I was actually following a formula and I didn't know it. That's one type of joy that you will feel. Another type of joy that you're going to feel is when you went through experiences and you feel that dissatisfaction. You're like, no, something is wrong. Why am I feeling this way? You keep going, going, going until eventually you're capable of articulating it in a beautiful way. And now you have reached that insight. To me, that is a drug. I chase that feeling. I love that feeling. That's why I create so much content. It's really for me. It's for me to understand life in a completely different way, where I'm not getting it from conversations. I'm not getting it from books. So let me go ahead and articulate these firsthand experiences that I have felt until I reach that insight. And now I have clarity. And the more that I have clarity, it feels like I'm floating. It really does. And that's why I encourage people to practice public speaking, practice writing skills, practice podcasting, because if you want to feel young, this is the way to do it. There was this one Swami that I heard one time who said, if you don't read and write, then you get dementia faster. I thought, man, that is a scary thing to say, bro, but it makes me want to read and write. You want to think about it like that. Fear is not always a bad thing. Fear is a great thing. And one of the reasons that I love to learn is due to curiosity. And another reason that I love to learn is because I am fearful. There have been tons of situations where I took in information and then I gave out the information. And it just so happened that I gave out the wrong information. And I get called out. Someone says, "Man, Armani, I trusted you on this one, and you gave me the wrong information. I made my team log in on the weekends, and it was not a good look. Armani, next time, can you make sure you give me the right information?" I get called out in public. And when I get called out in public like that, it embarrasses me. And the next time I want to learn, I want to know as much as I can. And it fuels me to do a better job. Fear is one of the best things you can utilize. Whenever people are talking about emotional intelligence, they're talking about it incorrectly. They're always talking about it in a overly positive sort of way. But emotional intelligence, it's really about transmutation. Can you turn these negative emotions into something positive where it leads to practical outputs? That's why I think venting is not a bad thing because a lot of the times when you're venting, it is born from something that is bothering you. And when you keep on seeing what's bothering you, you notice different patterns. And from those patterns, that's when you're capable of connecting the patterns and you're capable of seeing there's a better way to do something. Most innovation is born through people being annoyed with something. That is why I think that you don't just want to stop at the complaining. You want to eventually get to a solution. You're not always going to be able to get it in the beginning stage. You're going to have to keep articulating yourself out loud. And if you want to be great at social skills, you want to help people be more insightful. When someone is venting, they're going all over different directions. You want to every now and then ask a strategic question that gives them some direction. Okay, I see exactly where you're coming from. Did you ever think about this? Does this bother you too? Tell me more. See, tell me more is one of the best phrases you can pick up. Where if people are talking, right, and you feel somewhat dissatisfied with the answer, you don't just have to take it at face value. You say something like, okay, tell me more. But your tonality matters. If you say something like, tell me more, then it feels like you're confronting them. But if you say like, tell me more, where the engine is curiosity, now this person is going to say more. I actually wrote this blog post recently called Learn the Art of Pauses from Therapists. Therapists are the best at pausing. And right when you think you have said enough, when the other person pauses, and not just pause like where they look nervous, but pauses with, my bad. I actually just looked down because I, I thought my battery was about to die, but it wasn't. So let me do it again. It's like, hmm. And the other person's still talking. Then it's now the other person is seeing you smirk a little bit squinty eyes, head nodding. Three steps: smirk, squinty eyes, head nod. That is a gentle way for them to say even more. And it's sort of like lifting weights. When you're lifting weights, initially you assign yourself, hey, I'm going to do 10 reps. You do the 10 reps, but if you could push out that 11th rep, I promise you, you're going to grow a lot. And it's the same thing with conversation skills, where initially people will say certain things, but then that they're so close. And if you let them get a little bit closer and break through that wall, that's where the insights really happen. So that is what great communication skills are about. It's not just about putting people into listening mode when they desperately want to talk. It's about seeing, okay, this person really wants to talk about this, and I am going to guide them. Okay, I'm not going to put them in a way where I'm lecturing them or anything, but I could tell this person's a little scattered. So let me use my curiosity, see how I can guide them towards the direction that they seem the most enthusiastic about. And if they're talking about a traumatic moment, that's when you want to do that whole move that I just showed you. It's like, tell me more. Tell me more. That is such a great way for you to build your social skills, and people remember you that way. See, I noticed something that happens in my life is people give me credit a lot for things that I don't feel like I did. And I wonder why. Like, there have been tons of people that are like, I joined Toastmasters because of you. I won this public speaking competition because of you. I started my business because of you. Plenty of times. I think, what? When? What did I do? And it turns out it was one of these conversations where we're having it. And as we're having this conversation, I guess there is a period where I just say, tell me more. Or I'll ask a question like, are you thinking about starting a business? Well, why don't you join Toastmasters? I am not taking away their spotlight at all. I'm only helping them turn that spotlight from dim to bright. And then I walk away. I'm like a Sour Patch Kid. I'm sour, sweet, gone. I'm out. And by the time I'm out, this person, their mind is still running thoughts, creating directions. And then afterwards, they'll do what I asked them the question about. Why don't you join Toastmasters? After I leave, they're still asking themselves that question and they're looking for that answer. And eventually, the answer is another question. Yeah, why don't I? And then they end up joining the Toastmasters and they tie in Toastmasters with me. It's a very primal way, but I don't know why. I always feel embarrassed when people give me props. I'm a guy that is very low key. I don't really like the props that much. But if people say that it helped, I want to understand the science behind it, where different entities that don't know each other are saying the same thing. I'm thinking, wait, when did I do this? And then they'll tell me. It helps me learn more about psychology. The best way to influence someone is when they are opening up to you rather than just being a yes man, like, yep, yep, yep. You want to see what is the substance of the message, and then you want to guide them in a very subliminal sort of way where people have no clue that you are guiding them. People don't like it when they think you are guiding them. There's this viral video of CJ Stroud, I believe. He's over here lecturing this other quarterback, and they're the same age. And people are laughing at CJ Stroud. I'm just going to call him CJ. I don't know what his last name is. They're laughing at CJ because they're like, dude, why are you talking like a veteran for? He's just saying, like, come on, man, everything that you need is already in you. Just stop taking those hits, do X, Y, Z. Everyone's roasting him. Like, yo, this guy thinks he's a veteran in the league for 10, 15 years the way he's talking. He's only 23 years old. But if this person is guiding in a subconscious sort of way to the other person, where the other person has no clue they are being guided, that is a skill set. And I think the skill set is actually easier to learn than you think. And people will always tie it back to you later on. Where if you are actively trying to guide them, they may associate that memory with you at the moment, but you may not always influence them. Some people, no clue why, they will actually just take the opposite of what you are telling them because they don't like to be told what to do. It's mainly from their childhood. Maybe in their childhood, their dad would always tell them what to do. So as an adult, even if they're doing the wrong thing and you're saying, hey, bro, you should do this, trust me, you should do that, they're not listening to your message. They're just hearing their dad from when they were younger. And in these situations, you need to know how to fall back. And you want to be subliminal with it. What do you think you should do? You really think that's the right decision? Why? Tell me more. Hmm, gotcha. Well, man, I mean, luckily I'm not in that position because if I was in the position, I'd actually do X. But, this is more of your situation. And then you leave. And now this person's mind is still running. It's still running with, hmm, he did bring up X. It's different from what I'm doing. Why? But he brought it up in this gentle way. He wasn't telling me what to do. He wasn't being abrasive. He wasn't being like my father when I was 5 years old. He was being gentle with it. Mine is still running. I'm going to do X. So you left, and this person is still listening to the words that you said. That is how you can influence in your social skills life. You want to be more subliminal with it. And later on, one day, someone's going to come to you and be like, bro, I did X. And years have passed on by the way. You don't even remember it. You're like, what? What's X? Dude, what do you mean what's X? Because of you, I did X. Really? It's like you forgot, but you made an impact. Giving advice the correct way is a lot like collecting passive income. Whenever people are like, oh, I get passive income, I wrote a book and I have to do these interviews every month, otherwise the income will stop coming in, but I get passive income, right? Like, bro, you don't get passive income. You have to do these interviews? Yes. So you have to do it. This is not passive. To me, passive income, it's money that you get that you completely forgot about. Like all these books that I have written, I get checks every month. I'm thinking, oh, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that either. That's very similar to when you give people advice. Where time passes, they're like, bro, you did this. And you say, I wasn't expecting that. That is what I call passive advice, very similar to passive income. Well, we are about to wrap up today's episode. It was a very fun talk. I had a great time today. And if you want to get more insights like this into communication skills that deal with public speaking, social skills, passive income, I mean, I talk about how to use your words to generate wealth as well. Writing books. I mean, you have all these experiences. How about you get these experiences and you narrow it down in a way that can provide massive value to other people? You write this book, you market it, you sell it on another platform where you use your words, YouTube. So you wrote books with words, you market it on YouTube with words, and then you turn the words into money. Simple philosophy, right? People complicate it too much with all these funnels and all these different talks, CTAs, but I simplify. So if you want to get more insights like this into communication skills, the universe of communication skills, be sure to check out the Armani Talks free daily newsletter. Every single day at 7 p.m. EST, I am dropping brand new insights that will help you level up your way with words, become way more charismatic, become a confident communicator, and make sure that you network like a winner. Join the tribe by going on armanitalks.com/newsletter and sign up today. Thank you very much for joining me. And if you are celebrating Halloween, happy Halloween.